You know, with this fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, which, it's hard to believe that it's just 2 days away, no one is arguing who the better boxer is. I haven't seen one person say that Conor McGregor is a better boxer than Floyd Mayweather. In fact, according to a lot of people, Conor is going to win this fight because he's not a boxer. No one is also arguing that Conor is the better conditioned athlete. No one is arguing that Conor is faster than Floyd Mayweather. In fact, no one is even arguing that Conor McGregor can win a decision against Floyd. The general consensus is that if Conor McGregor wins, it's going to be early and by knockout. Which brings us to the advantage everyone believes Conor McGregor will have over Floyd Mayweather. And that is power. Conor McGregor is the more powerful fighter, and that's the only reason this fight is as interesting as it is today. If it was just youth and size, I highly doubt people will be giving Conor McGregor the sort of chance they are right now. But power. Conor's power. That's the backbone of every single argument in favor of Conor McGregor. Floyd has never been in there with anyone as powerful as Conor McGregor. Yeah, Canelo Alvarez and Cotto and Manny Pacquiao and De La Hoya, yeah, they were all good fighters, but none of those guys had the power that Conor McGregor has. That's the argument you hear over and over again. And I find this so fascinating because the truth is, there's really no evidence to back this up. Now, power is one thing that tends to stand out above everything else that is actually more important in combat. And the reason for that is power is loud. Even the most uneducated fan can recognize power because the result of power is impossible to miss. It's the ruthless impact that results in a limp, lifeless body on the canvas. You see that and it's scary, and because it's scary, you respect it, sometimes more than you actually should. It also helps when the fighter in question reminds you every single day that he is powerful, ruthless, and a knockout machine. You really start to believe it and forget to take a closer look. Conor McGregor repeatedly talks about knocking people unconscious, but does he really? If he's really that brutal of a knockout artist as if we've all come to believe that he is, if he truly has that touch of death that we all believe he does, why then does he only have one knockout in the UFC? Now, before you lose your mind and demand that I be put to death for this blasphemy, why don't we both take a look at his body of work and see for ourselves? His first fight in the UFC was against Marcus Brimage. To drop him, Conor landed 3 uppercuts and a straight. When Marcus dropped, Conor got on top, landed a few shots, and the ref jumped in to stop the fight. That wasn't a knockout, that was a TKO. For something to count as a knockout, you gotta be unconscious. If you're not unconscious and the ref jumps in and stops the fight while you're still conscious, it's a TKO. The second fight against Max Holloway, he won by decision. I know, Conor was injured in that fight, so let's just forget about that one. Let's just say that one doesn't count. The third fight, he fought Diego Brandao. He dropped him with a straight left, got on top, hit him with a few shots. The ref jumped in and stopped the fight while he was still conscious, also a TKO. His next fight was against Dustin Poirier. He dropped him with a straight left hook, landed a few shots on the ground. The ref also jumped in, stopped the fight, also a TKO. His next fight was against Dennis Siva. In that fight, Conor landed so many clean straight lefts round 1 to round 2, and the one that finally dropped Siva, it didn't knock him out. Conor McGregor got on top, landed a few shots, and the ref, once again, stopped the fight while Dennis Siva was still conscious for a TKO win. Next fight, Chad Mendes, also a TKO. He was dropped with a straight left, Conor got on top, landed a few shots on the ground, and ref stopped it. Then he fought Jose Aldo and knocked him out cold. He landed one punch and knocked Jose Aldo out cold. Aldo was unconscious, stiff as a board. That was Conor McGregor's first KO in the UFC. Now, after that fight, he fought Nate Diaz. He got submitted. He didn't rematch Nate Diaz a second time. He won by decision, but that could be because of how durable Diaz is. So I'll say that one doesn't count as well. Let's just forget about that one. And then in his last fight against Eddie Alvarez, he also landed a lot of straight lefts, finally dropped Eddie Alvarez, got on top, landed a few shots, and the ref stopped it. it. Also a TKO. When you look at the way Conor McGregor stops opponents in the UFC, it reminds you of another dangerous striker we've had in MMA, Anderson the Spider Silva. Now, would you describe Anderson Silva as a power puncher? Would you say Anderson Silva has the touch of death? Is Anderson Silva a knockout artist? Well, most of us will not describe him as such, but why not? Why won't you describe Anderson Silva as a knockout artist, but Conor McGregor is? When you take a look at Anderson Silva's body of work and how he used to knock down opponents, it is actually more impressive than Conor. Anderson Silva was dropping guys with jabs while walking backwards. He has 5 actual KOs in the UFC. I'm talking about KOs where the guys were unconscious. Until this day, Anderson Silva has the most knockdowns landed in UFC history at 17. So why don't we all describe Anderson Silva as a brain-rattling power striker? Why wasn't he known as such? Well, because he did not declare himself one. If Anderson Silva called himself a brutal knockout puncher, we would all call him that today. Every single person would describe him as such, and he actually has a record to actually prove that he could be a brutal knockout puncher. But not Conor McGregor. You see, Conor McGregor is a brilliant promoter, and from day one, he declared himself a power puncher, and because of that, everyone calls him a power puncher now. The simple fact is, Conor McGregor's ability to drop his opponents is less about power and more about something else. This right here is where I would appreciate it if you guys listen. It is less about power and more about something else. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a few clips from Conor McGregor opponents in the past who lost to him, and let's listen to them talk about his power and see if we can identify what the true skill here is when it comes to Conor McGregor.
Chad, in the first round, he landed a couple shots on you. How heavy were his hands? Were his hands, when you early in the fight, was he a heavy-handed guy?
I think more than anything, he's accurate, and I think that's what plays into the I guess the success he has with his punches. But nothing really was like overwhelmingly powerful, but he's got power, but like I said, he's more accurate, I'd say, than anything.
Yeah. Did he hit harder than you thought he would? Because people have said that, for all of this big shit talking him out, but they say he does throw a hard punch. Was it more than you expected?
Yeah, well, it was the timing and the speed of it, I think, was what was surprising, because he counterfoot, and I threw a punch and I got hit with a punch in between. So when you're a good boxer, you have good timing. It's kind of like you feel like you got snuck because it's a punch that you really didn't see. So it was more the timing and where it came from was what surprised me.
What did you think about his power, Chris?
You know what? I'm going to say this again, and I know I'm not one guy that says what I think the people want to hear. I call a spade, and I'm going to say this: we had 16-ounce gloves on, we had headgears on. I was not fazed by his power at all. I wasn't, and I've been in the ring with a lot of guys that can hit, and I've been hit harder, way harder, by guys with 16-ounce gloves and headgear on. I was not fazed, so it's difficult for me to say what his power was like because. Honestly, I was not fazed, not at all. He's very good at it. I'm going to give it that to him. Take nothing away from his counter left hand is pretty good, and I can see why with 4 ounce, like basically bare fist, why he's dropping these guys in the MMA. But then again, we've seen over and over and over, it doesn't take much for these MMA fighters, once they get tagged on the jaw, to go down. Where in a boxer's world, we are so trained every day when we spar, we get tagged on the jaw. So,
right.
We're used to that, where they are so, I feel that they are so focused on the groundwork, on the kicking, on the grappling, on the wrestling, a little bit of boxing. Then they don't perfect one thing.
It's hard to.
It's hard to perfect one thing, and when they do get caught on the jaw, it's like a surprise to them. It's like, oh, and they go down so easy.
Now, I would have included Paulie Malignaggi in there, but considering the bad blood he has with Conor McGregor at this point, it's possible that he is completely biased. It's possible he completely hates Conor. It's possible he's gonna lie his ass off. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, okay? I'm gonna leave it at that. But all these guys, the guys that I did put in there, they did not all come together and say, hey, let's all say Conor McGregor is not this monster puncher. It's the same thing over and over and over again. It's about his timing, and it's about his precision and his accuracy. That's the illusion of power, as my Muay Thai coach used to call it. When I first started training, like anyone else who first starts training, you load up, you tense up, you flex your muscles, you really tense as you throw these shots because you think that's where power comes from. But that's because you're untrained. You're not trained. You don't understand the power. You don't understand what truly delivers power. And I remember being told to forget about power. The focus should be on timing and accuracy. And the reason for that is it doesn't matter how fast you are if I have better timing. If I'm beating you to the punch every single time because my timing is better, in essence, I am faster than you, even though your hands can move faster. And if I'm beating you to the punch every single time because my timing is better, I'll also have more power because A, I'm the only one landing, and B, you won't see the shots I hit you with, and those are the ones that hurt. A flash of light, like the one from a flashbang, is very similar to a punch that you don't see. It doesn't come with force per se, but how sudden it is, how swift it is, can literally knock you off your feet. A very good example of this is when you compare the first fight Conor had versus Nate Diaz to the second one. In the first fight, Conor was loading up. He was throwing all sorts of bombs at Diaz, landing clean, but not one of those shots was enough to drop Nate. But in the second fight, Conor switched to speed, good timing and accuracy, and was able to drop Nate Diaz like 3 times in round 1. When you look at it, it's clear as day. Conor McGregor is not dropping guys because he is heavy-handed, not because he is like an Anthony Johnson character or a Shane Carwin kind of character or a Junior Dos Santos kind of character. That's not why. Or a Mike Tyson. He's dropping them because he is an accurate striker with exceptional timing for a mixed martial arts fighter. And believe it or not, that is actually way more impressive and way more important than simply being a powerful guy. There are a lot of powerful guys out there, a lot of them. I know it sounds like I'm downplaying Conor McGregor, but I'm not. I'm actually telling you that what Conor McGregor does is more technical, it's way more difficult, it's way more impressive than simply having power. And in a boxing match versus Floyd Mayweather, having good timing and accuracy is way more important than having heavy hands and being powerful. Because if all you've got going for you are heavy hands, you're not going to land a single shot on Floyd Mayweather. You're simply not. So what's the point of all this? The point is that it's important for everyone to go into this fight with realistic expectations. I read through YouTube comments, I see comments posted on Facebook pages, and I listen to Dana White talk about Conor McGregor and his power. I listen to interviews. I listen to people talk about this. And the expectation here is that what we're going to see is Floyd Mayweather basically versus Mike Tyson. And if that's what you're expecting, I'm sorry, but you're going to be highly disappointed. Conor McGregor is not going to be vibrating the whole entire ring with his power. He's not going to shatter through blocks and break bones on impact. He's not going to KO Floyd Mayweather with one shot, even if he lands clean. That simply will not happen. So don't expect it, because you will be disappointed. I'm telling you right now, when the fight is over, come back to this video and tell me if I was wrong. In fact, expect Floyd and Conor to have a similar power in there because they are both speed, accuracy, and timing driven punchers. Whoever is going to have more power in this fight will depend completely on who can set better traps, who can take advantage of mistakes, who can use their timing better, and who is more accurate. Expect measured aggression and a fairly decent fight pace from Conor McGregor. Now, whether that's going to be enough or not, well, you guys already know my opinion on that, but I really hope you don't go into this expecting to see Floyd being stumbled by every single shot thrown by Conor McGregor, whether it's blocked or not. You will be disappointed. You're not going to believe your eyes, and every single thing you've been hearing this whole entire time is going to feel like a lie to you. Go in there with realistic expectations. I understand that as passionate fans of Conor McGregor, it sounds like blasphemy to hear that he is not this brutal power puncher that we've all come to believe. But once again, do not go into this with unrealistic expectations because you will be disappointed. Now, to end this video, I'm gonna leave you guys with something Conor said about his knockout of Jose Aldo. Enjoy.
Not a lot of the fight to break down, but can you help us understand your emotions, your mindset? I mean, this is a big thing that you've been building towards. That 13 seconds that unfolded. What was going through your head? And I mean, did you see things playing out? Was it just muscle memory, instinct? How did it all play out?
I just felt he'd load up. I'd give him a little shot, give him that pressure, almost like get that recoil. And then he loaded. I pulled, banged the left hand. It was clean, no power, no push, just pop. No power, no push, just pop. No power, no push, just pop. Precision, timing, that's it.